Yeah, welcome to my channel. Okay, so I was gonna do this as a sort of non-live, but it turned out it has to go live for whatever reason. But in any case, um, my video somehow got deleted. But in any case, what I'm gonna say basically is this: is it comes down to the Padres and Dodgers. I don't know if this is a new rivalry or if this is what they're trying to call it as a new rivalry, basically. But it's more so to the point where, let's be honest, it's reminiscent of the Dodgers and Giants, San Francisco Giants, back in the '80s and early '90s, to the point where, quite honestly, it's becoming more so than a brawl more than anything else. Honestly, and like Machado, I don't know what happened, why, but he's just going right at him. Basically, it's really a surprise. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll say this as a Mets fan: either team, who cares? Bring them on, bring it on. But if you see my other earlier videos, you know that I said basically to the point where like, hey, look, bring on the Padres because revenge for 2 years ago. But then again, the Yankees beat out the Royals, so forget about the 2015. So bring on the Yankees, because like it's redemption for 2000. That should have been ours in 2000, but in any case, um, the only question comes down to is how do the Mets stack up against, let's say, the Padres versus Mets stacking up against the Dodgers. Thing is, against the Padres, they're almost similar to the Phillies to the point where like great pitching, good bullpen, definitely good, just some good hitters. Thing is, they don't have as great hitters, like from the 7, 8, 9 slot as well as basically the 7, 8, 9 slot basically, to the point where like possibly the Mets could do what pull that off what they did with the Phillies to the Padres as well too. But the only problem is Machado and Tatis are a little bit different from Castellanos and, of course, what's his name, Bryce Harper. Now Schwarber, it's great that the Mets were able to negate Schwarber. The problem is they couldn't negate Harper or Castellanos, and that's a big thing. Problem is it's gonna be the same exact thing with Machado and Tatis. We'll see what happens onwards. I'm hoping if it is the Padres, the Mets can get an advance. The only thing is the difference. One difference is they have two good pitchers, three good pitchers at best, right there. And the Mets got lucky that they were able to get past Wheeler, they were able to get past Nola, and take out Nola as well as Suarez. I think we got really lucky with Suarez. Let's be honest, we got really lucky with Suarez because Suarez was on point. It's just the fact that he was over his pitch limit, which was great. Question is, can they do this to you, Darvish? I don't know. Now with the Mets in Sunday, they're going to be here in Southern California, whether it be either going to up north in LA or a little bit south in to San Diego. It all depends on tonight's game. With the fact of who they go against, I don't know. I would like to say this: if I do know if they are staying in Orange County on Saturday, and they decide to go out, which they really might do, but who knows if they do. I wouldn't mind going to those bars because like there were some places which I found out later when I went there. They said yeah, some of the Yankees players would hang out here when they were in Anaheim, and all. I was like, interesting, I didn't know that. So with the Mets, I don't know where they're going to stay. If they're staying in, they're staying in LA. Okay, fine. I'm not going to go that far up there, but any case, um, it's going to be interesting to see how today plays out because I think it's for the first time ever. Well, it's definitely the first time ever. Two Japanese pitchers starting in NLDS playing against each other, which is basically Yamamoto versus Darvish. Now, people in Japan are definitely going to be awake for this to watch this game because, like, when you actually see a game clinching series between two Japanese pitchers, and you got a Japanese superstar, which is of course Otani, so they're definitely watching this game. They're just staying up to watch this game. I will say this: it makes you wonder. Me, basically, or you have to wonder because I kind of sounds like I wish Otani would come to the Mets, and they was like, oh, he's not worth the half a billion dollars or $7 million. Now the Mets, and they said like he would never would have kept to the Mets. Well, here's the thing: if Cohen was willing to give him $800 million, who's going to say no to $800 million? So I think Otani would have came on there at that point as well too. It would have been interesting to see how Otani would have came out and not played against, but if Otani was a Met, him, Lindor, and Alonso, that would be like 1, 2, 3 punch. And it would be much more interesting to see how if next year we get Soto and of course retain Alonso, then it'd be like if we had Otani, Lindor, Alonso, and Soto, that would be like the new murderer's row practically. But I don't know if I want the Yankees to advance far because Soto going far with the Yankees, unless the Mets get into the World Series, I don't see Soto leaving the Yankees per se. He might even go to the Dodgers, and if he goes to the Dodgers, they have to be the favorites, unfortunately, at that point. And the Dodgers probably could pay him that kind of money too. Quite honestly, I know Cohen's not going to let that happen. I'm hoping Cohen can actually do that, but we'll see what happens. Um, uh, oh, okay. Hey, welcome, Yuki. I know Otani never called Cohen, but the thing is, Cohen should have called him. I think Cohen should have called him. That's the whole thing. If Cohen was like, "I'll pay you $800 million," it would have been a different story. I mean, I don't think anyone was willing to pay him 500 million, $500 million, but I think it is. This is why I kind of regret the fact that I think the Mets were like, okay, you know what, we're gonna regroup 2025, 2026. We're gonna let that happen, and they even Mets management. Let's be honest, Mets management thought that the 2024 Mets were never going to make this far, basically. So even they themselves, Cohen is like, you know what? I didn't have. If Cohen says I believe that the Mets, I knew they were going to do this, as well as Stearns, that's BS. They didn't believe it. They knew that this was kind of a lost season, but this was going to be. Let's make it competitive enough to the point where like it makes the fans enjoy the Mets, which we did. Said basically in the beginning of the season, basically it's like, look, the Mets make over 500. It's great. That's all I was looking for, basically, so that I didn't have a losing record. Now this is even far more better, of course. Now the whole question comes down to is like, can the Mets sign Soto? If the Yankees get into the World Series, it's going to be kind of hard to convince Soto to come to the Mets. Money will be definitely a big factor, but if the Yankees don't win the World Series, Soto might just want to re-sign with the Yankees because like they're the most likelihood. Because like let's be honest, you've got Judge, Stan, and him together. I mean that's a 1-2-3 punch basically. That's what. Granted, now Judge himself, he's not showing up to the playoffs. The real question comes down to is, does he deserve that captain title, basically? Because he's definitely not showing the what comes with that title. He's definitely not living up to it, especially in the playoffs. Yeah, in the offseason, I mean, during the regular season, yeah, but during the playoffs, when it really matters the most, you got to be Mr. Clutch. All the captains of your yesteryear, basically, they lived up to their end, basically, and like Judge is not. So, like, the question is, can you strip the captain title away from a player? I don't know. That's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see at that point. Unless Judge comes out of his funk or whatever it may be, but I don't know. Honestly, like I said, now that the Royals are out of it, bring on the Yankees because I want my revenge. I want my revenge for all the losses we had. So put it that way, in the playoffs and in the World Series. Again, looking at the way the Mets are going to be playing, who they're going to be playing against, whether it be the Dodgers or Padres. Now, if the Mets play against the Dodgers, I said the Padres because they're almost semi-identical to the Phillies. The Mets might have a better shot with them. Do the Mets have a better shot with the Dodgers? It's hard to say because Betts is now out of his funk. If Freeman were to come back, I'm hoping he doesn't. But if he does were to come back, and if the Dodgers were to win the series, that is, clinch the series, let's be honest, Freeman it's a Mets killer. He's like another Chipper Jones, unfortunately. And so, unfortunately, the case is like Freddie Freeman can kill the Mets, and Otani. There's no way around ends out about it, but you have to like pitch around it basically because you don't want to go against them. And like Betts, I think the bet you can go against Betts, but more so to the point where like the Dodgers, at least their pitching staff, even though as good as they are, the playoffs are showing how weak they are. It's because of the Dodgers offense. So if the Mets pitching can stack up against the Dodgers hitters, I think we have a shot because the Dodgers bullpen isn't so solid as we thought they were. So like we can probably get it. Yeah, I don't want. But the thing is, I don't want Soto to get. I don't want Soto to get the Superman symbol as a Yankee. I'd rather get it as a Met. I'd rather have him getting as a Met, basically. Yeah, he is hitting 250 in the playoffs, but let's be honest. In runners in scoring positions, I think his is like, I think he's at 450 or something like that with his wrist, basically. As I said, yeah, but Freeman is got a bum ankle, but it's possible he can't come back with the Mets. I mean, maybe not for Sunday's game, but maybe possibly. That's the only concern is. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, quite honestly. I'd love to see, like I said, I would love to see the Mets go against the Padres, more so to the point like because of the revenge aspect. But I think if I had my choice between the Padres and Dodgers, I hate to say this, but if I had a choice, I would rather have the Mets go against the Dodgers, even though they don't have a great record. But the thing is, they played them earlier in the season when they were like in their funk. Now that they got their groove on, I think they could beat the Dodgers because when they were playing against the Padres towards the tail end of the season, they were whooping them, and so like they could definitely beat them. The only thing is like they got to make sure they show up. Like Alonso's got to make sure he shows up, like he did with the Philadelphia series. Vientos has got to show up. He's got to make sure that. And JD Martinez, I'm hoping this woke him up so that point like he becomes, the bat that he was hired to come on board for, in that aspect. It all depends if this is the real World Series, because if the Mets get past whomever into the World Series, let's say if they're going to go into the Yankees, I think that becomes a true classic at that point, because it's like a powerhouse juggernaut versus the little big brother. The little brother versus the big brother. It's always going to be the case like this, but in this case, I think the Mets have a shot of beating the Yankees at that point. They pretty much swept them practically in the regular season with the Subway Series practically. But the only question comes down to is Cleveland and Detroit. I think Cleveland has a better shot, I think, than Detroit, right? So now that they tied it up, as far as the Yankees are concerned, like I said, the Yankees definitely have some serious hitters. They are all about offense more than defense, quite honestly. That is true. They are 13-2 against the AL East, and like I said, they practically swept the Yankees for the Subway games that they had this season. But when it came against the Cleveland Guardians, the Mets didn't really do much. I think they only got one game out of them at that. And remember, that was the time when they were playing against the Guardians. That's when Lindor made that famous statement. It's like, hey, they're doing much better. And you could tell Lindor wishes that he were with the Guardians. I wouldn't mind, actually, the Mets going against the Guardians and Lindor going against Cleveland, his former team, seeing what he does. Because, and if he could deny them a World Series as well, too, again, if he could deny him, not again, but if he could deny the Cleveland Guardians a series title, that would be great. But it would be interesting to see how that works out. But from the perspective of, like I said, this is the San Diego Dodgers series. I think this has been the culmination of what I think, not culmination, but this has definitely been a series to watch. I'll be honest, as a Mets fan, I was more better at watching the Mets and Phillies. Granted, the back and forth that was going back and forth. If it had gone to a Game 5, I think this would have been the new classic. I think everyone would have said the Mets were the ones. But this Dodger-Padre new rivalry that is, just basically woke up whatever. The fact is, there's such bad blood. I had no idea there was this much bad blood, but it's bad blood to the point where, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping, from this perspective, I'll say this. Do not be surprised if the bench is clearing out today. Do not be surprised that the bench is clear out today. Whether it be a brawl or not, I don't think so. But do not be surprised, because it's that kind of energy that I can feel. And you could even feel it here in Southern California with the people around me, between Padres and Dodgers fans. You could feel that, that energy of there's so much bad blood now. And I'm it's going to be interesting to see. I won't be surprised there. I'm hoping that this series, the winner that comes out of the series, is so beaten up that when it comes to the first two games, they don't show up in those first two games. Now, granted, the Mets have to travel, but at least they have the rest, so they'll be here in Southern California. As I said, if they're in the Orange County area, I'll try to see if I can try to stalk them, hang out with them, if possible. It was interesting at one point when I used to be in Midtown. Ike Davis was frequenting in a bar, and I was kind of there hanging out with him at that point as well, too. Quite honestly, it was pretty interesting. Similarities, but in any case, would you ban it? Would I ban anyone from my chat if you found out they threw garbage and got into a fight during the? No, I would not ban them from my chat at all. Why would I? Because honestly, it's free for all. It's freedom of speech, baby, and honestly, so long as no one got injured, then it's their call, honestly. Because it's look. We as New Yorkers as well too. We do the exact same crap as well too. If we had the choice, we would throw garbage onto the Dodgers specifically. Well, that's not true. I take that back. That's not true. I would, but I know on the field we want. The New York law is definitely strict against that kind of stuff, so it'll definitely affect things. Dodger fans, they'll attack opposing fans. At least Mets fans. We don't. Even Yankees fans as well too. They don't as well too. New Yorkers in general, we know we have respect. We'll taunt them, we'll trash talk and such, but we're not going to be physically violent against any opposing team, fans basically. But the Dodgers and Padres, I've seen videos. Quite honestly, I've been seeing videos where it's gone beyond trash talking, and it was like really surprising. I mean, it's just like it was really. I mean, I remember seeing someone's TikTok. I'm like, holy crap, that was like really vicious. But in any case, but I don't think I would ban anyone from if I found out that they were throwing garbage and got into a fight during the the Dodgers Padres series. Honestly, it's. I mean, it's up to the Dodgers and Padres themselves to ban those fans from the stadiums, from the games. Would I ban them from a chat room or something like that? No, because unless they're inciting some kind of like violence, no, they're welcome to it's their opinion at that point, honestly, more than anything else. But yeah, I don't condone them throwing stuff onto the field or condoning violence, but so long as actually thinking about it now, saying it aloud, yeah, if they did not instigate, but if they were part of a violent act that violently injured person, yeah, then I would ban them. Yeah, for sure, I'd definitely ban them. Depending on what type of garbage they throw it, if it's like paper or something that doesn't hurt anyone, like a banana peel or something like or like fruits, then I don't think it would be that much of an issue. But yeah, if it's something that's a dangerous object, that's a different story. Then yeah, I would ban them at that point. I mean, they're throwing at a beach ball or something like that, or an inflatable ball. I don't think it's gonna do anything at that point. They're throwing a baseball at someone to hurt someone, maliciously. That's a different story. Now, yeah, like what the Dodgers did against the Padres, the Dodgers fans throwing all that stuff out on the field, specifically for I forgot the player's name now. That was the left fielder, but. Let's be honest, the dude was taunting the fans themselves, so he was taunting them. So it's more so to him like he was going to garner some kind of reaction. The only thing is like these Dodgers fans have no restraint, and that's the thing. Is like you've heard stories, you've seen the news in the past where like Dodgers fans beating the crap out of Giants fans at the time. So I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised of seeing if the Padres were to win tonight. I would not be surprised to hear in the news some Dodger fan causing some melee against some Padres fans. But like I said, don't be surprised on the field that the benches will clear out. Do not be surprised about that. I will not be surprised that there's going to be something that's going to happen. I know that because the tension is so high, and don't be surprised where Machado's up to bat and something happens. I think something's going to happen where Machado's up to bat. The Padres are leading 5-2. It's in the 8th inning or 7th inning. Don't be surprised, depending on the score that is as well too. But outside of that, I'll leave it at that. In any case, Yuki, I always enjoy you coming on when I'm on live. I do have to go because I want to watch the game. And if depending on who the winner is, depending where the Mets go, I'm trying to see if I can get tickets for one of those games. Since I'm out here in Southern California, like in Orange County, so I can either go to L.A. or San Diego, but San Diego's a little bit far. If it was LA, it's much better, much more easier. And yes, here's the thing. Even though in LA there's a lot of Dodgers fans, there are a lot of Mets fans. Let's be honest, there are a lot of Mets fans. When I went to Dodger Stadium quite a few times, there were a lot of Mets fans. Similar to when I was in Anaheim, when I went to the Angels game this year. I was surprised. I was like, mind blown. Like maybe half the stadium, close to half the stadium was like Mets fans. So don't be surprised to see a lot of Mets fans at Dodger Stadium if it's the Dodgers and the Mets are going against the Dodgers. The only question comes down to is, can we spend that kind of money, because those tickets are going to be really expensive in LA and specifically in San Diego as well too. So I don't know, but we'll see what happens with there. All right, Yuki, let's go Mets, and hopefully we'll see who we play against on Sunday. With that, and also, by the way, if I do find out if the Mets are staying somewhere in Orange County, I'll find them. I'll try to stalk them. If you happen to know, let me know, and I'll stalk them as well too. But with that, I'll leave it at that. I'm Phil.